Hello, welcome. Hope you're well, wherever you are. Thank you for joining us on our YouTube channel, this meeting of the Christian Meditation Prayer Group in St Mary's Church in Killarney. And welcome to those who are here in person. We will start in our normal way. Let us close our eyes and try to relax. And we remind ourselves that we meditate in the presence of God, and God's divine energy percolates all things, and we use that positive knowledge to help us settle. And we hope for that moment when our mind and our heart will unite as one, as we open ourselves up to God. And so at the sound of the gong we will bring into our mind our sacred word, Maranatha. Okay, everything all right? Good. Everybody okay? Yeah. One of the fascinating things about the history and tradition of meditation is the way in which we learn about ourselves from the experience of many others in generations past. And those who practice the technique of meditating today we often find little snippets, little insights, which are very revealing. And one of the things that they notice is that when the person meditating has become very familiar with the technique and is very settled in it, they find that they learn to observe not just what's happening during the meditation, but what is happening generally. That is to say, observe what is going on inside. And this ability to observe makes itself known in the way in which we can notice tiny little things that are occurring. We notice them, and we notice them in such a way as we metaphorically raise the eyebrow at these things. And this can quite often happen in dreams as well. When we're in the midst of a dream, and there is a fanciful story being presented to us in our dream, very exotic, and usually we as the observer in the dream go along with it. It all seems logical and right. But then there will come a moment and the mind, the reasoning mind, will suddenly notice something has happened in the dream and will say, hey, just a minute. Yeah? And just that moment, pause. How did that happen? Or that wasn't there before. Or thoughts of that nature. And we can remember these when we come out of our dream, if it's very recent to our moment of waking. So in our meditation practice, what we're able to do is notice actually what is happening closer and closer to that moment when we first become aware that something is going on. You remember, it's always the case that we never know when our sacred word has disappeared. We never know. But what we do know is suddenly it's not there. And we notice that something else is already happening. It's already happening in our mind. And this is the dialogue that's going on between our imagination and our faculty of reasoning. Yeah? Imagination is coming from somewhere in our subconscious. It's coming from deep within us. And this is the source of that idea in meditation practice where we notice that something comes out of the mist towards us. A thought is forming, a picture is arriving, and it comes out of the mist within our meditation. And it crystallizes, and it takes on shape. But there is this progressive revealing of it. It's not instant. There are moments of when there are instant thoughts, and we learn that these instant thoughts are the ones that tend to come from the Spirit, from the Holy Spirit. Yeah, they're just there. There's no materializing of them. They're just there. They're very clear and very precise. Where these other ones are very amorphous and generalized. And so the imagination is presenting us with, and it's our reason that's noticing and interacting with this environment. Now that tells us something really interesting. That tells us about the nature of how we operate within ourselves. Because when we look at that, we realize that there are two places where we do our thinking. Yeah, there's the reasoning part, which is up here. We work things out, we plan, that sort of idea. And then there's the other part, which can be really quite fanciful, really quite inventive, and have no basis in fact about it. in many cases. And this is coming from within us, this is coming from the imagination, from the subconscious. And that's the place where we are seeking silence. Yeah? Not in our reasoning, not up here in our reasoning faculty, but down there in our imagination, in the inner mind. And this is what we talk about when we're seeking for our mind and our heart to become unified. Because that imagination is the place where we construct realities. There are three kinds of realities we can construct. There's the reality that says, this happened in the past and I'm unhappy with it, so I'm thinking it through. Well, it wasn't what I wanted, and so we build on it. We rehearse it again because it's already happened. And there's the other kind, which is purely imaginative. We construct a fanciful idea, an imagination that has no grounding, no basis in fact. And then the third one, which is to try and construct a reality in the future, which is the fear that is telling us we need to worry about something that is yet to happen, and we've got no chance of controlling it, not the least chance of controlling it. But these, the first one and the third one, are coming from the imagination. The second one is much more being, we acquiesce with what is going on with our reason, and we engage with it with our reason. So it's slightly different. So these other two, the first and the third one, we're trying to find that way of stopping our imagination from taking over, from taking control of us. And it's the imagination that needs to be quiet and still. And when it is quiet and still, then we see into our heart. We see into our heart and are able then to see the presence of the Spirit deep within. Yeah? So that's a very refined way of understanding what's happening to us. But it actually is quite helpful. When we're in our meditation practice, we're seeking this level of understanding and insight, because actually knowledge helps us to deal with things. When we have knowledge of something, when we know why something has happened, then we have an ability to deal with it. We can control, or it doesn't happen anymore, or that kind of thing. So there is this really refined process which we are helped to understand. It's there by the tradition, and we can get into that space ourselves, where we've experienced it and we learn, we notice. So this bringing the mind and the heart into one, into unity, is actually the very same thing as is spoken of in the Eastern Christian tradition, in the Jesus prayer tradition. It's the very same thing, from that different perspective. So, it will be helpful to you at one moment of time. When the time comes, you will know. Yeah? So, any questions? No questions. Right, okay. Any questions? No, you can write them down underneath in the comment box, and I'll reply when I see them. Okay, thank you very much for joining us for our meeting of the Christian Meditation Prayer Group here in St Mary's Church in Killarney. I wish you well in the coming days, and if you're here in Killarney and you'd like to come and join us, please do. 7 o'clock on Fridays in St Mary's Church in Killarney. Otherwise, stay safe. God bless you. See you soon. Bye-bye.